Pokemon Masters, Birdkeepertoby here. The GS Ball is one of the biggest MacGuffins in the Pokemon world. No one really knows where it came from or what happened to it. It was the central focus of the whole Orange Island series of the show. Get the GS Ball from Professor Ivy to Professor Oak, and then eventually in the Johto series to the Pokeball expert Kurt. But what happened to it after that?
Hi everyone, I'm the Alchemist, and you've probably heard the story that the GS Ball was meant to contain Celebi, like the Japanese game event. The Celebi subplot was dropped after the scripting of the movie Pokemon Forever that focused on the legendary instead. What if I told you that's really a cover-up for a massive GS Ball Pokemon theory? Today I'm joining Birdkeepertoby to crack open this mystery once and for all. Let's look at what we know.
So the GS Ball is unlike every other Pokeball. It won't shrink, it can't open, it can't be transferred via giving it to a Pokemon to hold and traded, otherwise they would have just done that in the show. Instead, Ash and the gang had to carry it around and they couldn't even open it with crowbars or hacksaws. This Pokeball is odd. However, in the games it does actually have a function, because in Gold, Silver and Crystal, if you can get the GS Ball, an event item to Kurt, he'll tell you to go into the Ilex Forest where you'll encounter Celebi, which was the Pokemon originally intended to be inside the ball in the show. However, apparently this plotline was dropped when the fourth movie was announced, so what happened there?
Well, in the fourth Pokemon movie, Sammy, a young Professor Oak, saves Celebi from being attacked by a Pokemon hunter and is transported into the future, where he befriends Ash and the gang. After rescuing the legendary from the Iron Mask Marauder, Samuel Oak is sent back to the past. I've already done a theory about young Oak in this movie and how his time in the future inspired him. He got the idea for the Pokedex from Ash's Pokedex, which he invented in the future. This is called a bootstrap paradox, and will come into play later on in this video.
So, the GS Ball was originally meant to contain Celebi, but then that plotline was dropped for the fourth movie. And you can tell this in the way that the Orange Island series is written. Oak and Ivy never question what's in the Pokeball, only how to open it.
So our theory is that, much like the Pokedex, the young Oak who saw Ash's future Pokeball took that information to his childhood friend Johto, the Pokeball expert Kurt. It's clear that Oak was on his Pokemon journey around Johto during this time of the movie, given the Pokemon on his team, and it's also likely that his friend Celebi would have accompanied him after the events of the movie. Traveling around Johto, he met a young Kurt. This is referenced in both the show and the games, especially by a picture that shows a young Oak and Kurt together, as well as a woman with determined eyes, possibly Ivy. Kurt, an apricorn crafter, tried to replicate the Pokeball that Oak saw, and created the GS Ball prototype.
Lacking many of the functions of the modern day Pokeball, like shrinking or being able to be transferred via item and held Pokemon, one of the other functions it sadly lacks is the ability to be opened, which sadly for the Celebi stuck inside it leaves us with this chronology of events. A young Professor Oak goes to the future and meets Ash Ketchum. He sees what future Pokeballs are going to be like, and when he returns to the past, he tells his friend Kurt, a Pokeball enthusiast, this is what the Pokeballs of the future will look like. They then develop the modern day Pokeball, but not before creating the prototype, which is the GS Ball, which sadly traps their friend Celebi. They then spend the next 40 years trying to work out how to get it open, sending it to Pokemon professors all over the place, like Professor Ivy. Until finally Ash takes it from Ivy to Professor Oak, and then on to Professor Kurt, back to Johto where it started. It's all gone full circle now. So, the real question is, did Kurt manage to free Celebi?
We believe so. Oak makes a few appearances in Johto after Ash leaves the GS Ball with Kurt. He visits a student in the Ruins of Alph, works with DJ Mary and Goldenrod, watches Ash in the Silver Conference. In the episode Catch Me If You Can, Oak shows up with Ash's mother. Unlike previous encounters, when Ash asks what Oak is doing there, his mother says she will tell him later, but never does. This mysterious Oak appearance could be the evidence that we're looking for. There's no way of knowing for sure, but it might just be that Kurt made a development, and Oak's old friend was finally let back into the world.
So what do you think of this theory? And this isn't the only anime Pokemon theory we've come up with today. There's also one about Charmander's Flametail on the Alchemist channel, so make sure to check that out. Annotation, description, and you soar high.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeepertoby. That makes you a Pokemon